Yo, what's up everybody? I just wanted to get on here and amplify this video. Zachary really describes this executive order on housing done by Trump. He describes it so well. He runs you all the way through it and helps you understand what it really means and how it benefits us or doesn't. I'm going to be back here at the end of that video to kind of share my thoughts on what he had to say. So if you want to hear what I have to say on it, stick around. But please at least do stick around for this part of the video because it makes so much, like, he describes it and there's no way you can't understand it. So on to the video.
Trump has an executive order to ban institutional investors. What does this even mean, and will it actually fix housing? So let's use an analogy to start. So if somebody was going to rob a jewelry store, how would that go? Hey brother, we should go rob this jewelry store. They're like, all right. They find the jewelry store they're going to go rob. They got their little bag. Then they make their way in and realize, oh my God, there's so many jewels and no one's here to stop us. So they go ahead and fill their bag with all the jewels. But before they know it, there's an alarm that sounds here in 2026. It says, you have to stop doing this. I can't allow you to keep stealing these jewels. And so they're going to go in and they're going to confiscate the jewels and bring them back to the jewelry store. But this situation is going to line up a little bit differently than how a typical jewelry robbery would go. Because here, they rob the store, they get the jewels, put them in the bag, and then the alarm sounds, and Trump comes in and says, gotta get out of here. But instead of taking the jewels, they don't take the jewels. In fact, the jewels that they had been stealing off of the free market, from this private business, from the general public, and stealing, well, they're not going to take it back. And in this situation with stopping Wall Street from buying homes, they're not going to be taking back the homes or the jewels. In fact, they're going to allow the people who robbed that market to keep the jewels, and they're going to use some of what they've robbed to pay off the police officer who could have possibly confiscated it. So what's the problem they're trying to fix? The problem is homes aren't affordable, there's an affordable supply crisis, and investors are buying up all the homes. This executive order is set to stop institutional investors specifically from buying properties, and they are defined as those who have 100 to 1,000 units. Now there's about 15.7 million single-family rental properties in America at this exact moment. And institutional investors like Blackstone, Vanguard, these giant Wall Street and private equity monsters, own about 2.7% of that. Broken down, it's about 550 to 600,000 homes that are under the ownership of the jewelry robbers. While 89% of those single family homes are owned by people that only own 1 to 5 rental properties. Meaning your typical mom and pop, the person that walks out of the gas station in your local area that has 4 Airbnbs, that's them. And we can see this executive order is specifically to create measures to combat speculation in single family housing by large institutional investors. So this would not kick out the mom and pop. So the answer to this executive order is to ban the robbers, but there are some loopholes that I'm worried about. One, if you're an institutional investor, like a Blackstone, what prevents you from going and making an LLC out of Delaware called 123 Banana Street and using that 123 Banana Street LLC to buy a property under the guise of someone who doesn't own 1,000 homes? What's going to stop them from doing that? Who's going to enforce it? Is it going to be the realtor? There's no bank involved. These big companies are buying in cash. So there's no appraiser, there's no underwriter, there's no mortgage officer, there's nobody that can actually hold them accountable to that rule. And the last big loophole is the fact that there's no divestment of the jewels. They're not going to be forced to sell the properties they've already taken off the free market. So if we don't fix the affordable supply crisis, if we don't patch up the ability for people to buy properties anonymously, and we don't force the robbers to divest the jewels they've robbed, then I don't think this executive order is necessarily going to bring more affordable homes.
Trump is on the F.
And there you have it. They're getting away with the most perfect heist ever. Trump comes in, the cop comes in and says, hey, get on out of here. And they're like, all right, fine. And they start walking out and they go to hand over the jewels and he's like, I don't want those. Get out of here, you fucking twerp. Tells them to get out of here with the fucking bags of jewels just over their shoulder. So unless they are forced to sell at either the price they bought it for or either 10% less than what they bought it for, unless they're forced to do that, they got away with a giant heist and Trump just came in to tell them to stop to look good. It doesn't really do anything for us at all, in my opinion. So yeah, just keep that in mind next time somebody tries to tell you Trump fixed housing, because he didn't. He stopped them from buying houses any longer and let them keep the ones that they already destroyed the housing market by buying at the lowest rate ever. So something to think about, guys.